Hey, what's up, everybody? How is everyone doing? How has your week been? Have you been keeping your head above water and just, continuing with life as it goes by? Another crazy week. I don't know if anybody has been following the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, but so it seems basically like Johnny Depp has won the case. I was always Team Johnny, not to create a divide amongst my listeners, but yeah, just happy that some justice has been done. But what's also frustrating with this case is that there are thousands and thousands of other cases in the world where just normal folk are going through shit and they can't get court cases sorted out or custody battles handled in the correct way. So yeah, I genuinely do feel sorry for those people because obviously not being a celebrity, you don't get as much coverage and quick action as other people would receive. So that's always a sad thing. But you know what? That is the reality of it. And the reality is Johnny Depp won his case. So well done, Captain Jack Sparrow. Anyways, today's show is a really freaking crazy one about a slaughterhouse worker. Her name was Katherine, and she became the first woman in Australia to receive a life sentence without the chance of parole after she decapitated and then cooked her husband, John Charles Thomas Price. Yes, you're right. Australia, you have got a crazy story on your hand. Not to say South Africa doesn't, but this one is freaking crazy. So, you know the drill. Sit back, relax, get something to drink, something to eat, if you can eat after the show, and enjoy the podcast. Look behind you. Today's show, I have pulled sourcing from allthat'sinteresting.com, and I think it is time to just get stuck into the story. Now, most lovers' quarrels end with an apology or perhaps just a breakup, but for Katherine Knight, murder and mutilation were the end result. Not only did this Australian abattoir worker stab her lover with a butcher knife at least 37 times, all the way back in February 2000, she then chopped him up, cooked him, and prepared to serve him to his own children. That is right. She served him to the kids. Oh man, there is nothing, I want to say nothing more sick in this world, because there'll be another story where someone does something else really fucked up, but this is nasty. Even before this grisly killing, the life of Katherine Mary Knight was marked by violence and sexual abuse that only hinted at the bloodshed to come. It always starts like that, just doesn't it, right? So let's take it all the way back to her childhood. And born on October 24, 1955 in Tenterfield, Australia, Katherine Mary Knight was the product of a scandalous affair between her mother, Barbara Rogan, and her father, Ken Knight. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I'm not too sure if it's Rogan or Rohan. Please don't slaughter me in the comments, or do. It's up to you guys as well. I really ain't perfect when it comes to general speaking. Never mind trying to pronounce foreign names. But for this case, I'm just probably going to say it as it comes into my head. So Rowan was not only already a mother of 4 boys with another man, but she even met Knight through her husband. Smart move, right? Now, when their secret rendezvous came to light, it rocked their small conservative town. Now, small towns, everybody knows everybody's business. So if you're going to have like an affair, not the right place to have it. And following this tumultuous start, Knight's chaotic childhood didn't get much better from there. Her father was a violent alcoholic who raped her mother multiple times a day. Knight herself even claims that she was sexually assaulted by several family members up until the age of 11. And in school, Knight was known as a bully who terrorized smaller children. Generally, that's what frickin' bullies do, can't stand it. And without ever learning how to read or write, she quit at the age of 15 to work at a clothing factory. A year later, she landed her dream job at a slaughterhouse, cutting out the internal organs of animals. Oh, just takes me back to when I was a child and dreamt of becoming some butcher in a slaughterhouse. Oh wait, that's right, I never fucking dreamt that. Who the hell dreams of that? Now, journalist Peter Laylaw wrote in Bloodstain, his true crime book that covered Katherine out, that she loved her job so much that she hung her first set of butcher's knives over her bed, just in case she ever wanted to use them. And eventually, she did. If that's not a warning sign right there, I don't know, does that count as BDSM? No? I don't know. What the hell is wrong with this woman?
Everybody has their own morning routines, but on the top of my list is coffee. Strong, hot black coffee. I physically can't start the day without a cup. However, sometimes life gets in the way and you're forced to buy a cup of coffee while on the road. And if you're like me, you struggle to find one that tastes good and is affordable. Well, now there is a one-stop solution for you. Homeground Coffee. The name is brilliant and so is the service. Situated at Benoni Northern Sports Ground, it's a nice central point for your morning commute. And why not get a delicious muffin or pie to go along with it? Homeground Coffee is the perfect go-to, and I advise you strongly to give them a try. When you do, let them know that I sent you. Find them on Facebook at Homeground Coffee as well as Instagram. That's Homeground Coffee, HOMEGROUND.
And while working in the butcher shop, Knight met David Kellett, a raging alcoholic, much like her father, who was also prone to fistfights. Now, used to this kind of violence, Knight surprised her new bae when she joined in one of his drunken scuffles. He soon realized, however, that Knight was capable of doing more than a little damage with her fists. Before long, he found himself being dominated by her. And in 1974, she convinced him to marry her. I don't know if she probably beat him to doing it, but eventually he married her. And he was heavily intoxicated the entire time, and her mother even warned him about her daughter's temper, saying that Knight had a screw loose somewhere. You think? And on their wedding night, Knight and Kellett consummated their marriage 3 times. When he fell asleep, Knight wanted a 4th round and took issue with her new husband's exhaustion. So she started to strangle him. Of course, that's what everyone does. I thought that was just the normal thing, right? You have sex 4 times on your marriage night, and then you strangle them if they don't want to? Never mind. Now, Kellett then woke up and he managed to fight Knight off. Even though she attempted to kill him only 1 day into their marriage, the union lasted for 10 more years. The marriage was, however, far from perfect, as you might have guessed. Now, Kellett was often unfaithful and once even left his wife and their 2 daughters in the middle of the night. And after discovering one of Kellett's affairs, Knight placed their 2-month-old infant on the local train tracks shortly before a train was due. The train didn't come and the infant was of course spared, but this also led to her threatening several people with a stolen axe as well. So yeah, it just kind of shows you where her head's at. She was also diagnosed with postnatal depression after witnesses saw her violently pushing and swinging her 2nd child in a stroller down a busy street. She went on to spend a few months in a psychiatric hospital where she told nurses that she intended to kill a mechanic who had fixed Kellett's car because that made it possible for him to leave her. And despite this threat, Kellett took Knight back when she was released from the psychiatric hospital. Their reunion didn't last long, and Knight went through a period of deep distress after Kellett finally did leave her. What a man! It only took him how many years, after 10-11 years, to finally leave the woman? Jeez, talk about being a sucker for punishment. In 1986, shortly after her breakup with Kellett, Katherine Knight jumped into a whirlwind romance with David Saunders, a local miner. Within a few months, Saunders moved in with her and her 2 daughters. However, he kept his apartment, and Knight became incredibly jealous and suspicious about what he did when she wasn't around. Like her previous relationships, this one quickly grew toxic and, you guessed it, violent. Now, this is where the story starts making me feel a little bit upset and sick just because of what I'm about to mention. So, if you are triggered by animals getting hurt, maybe just skip this maybe by a minute or so. But at one point, Knight went on to slit the throat of his 2-month-old dingo puppy in front of him, just to show him what she was capable of. Still, they stayed together and even had a daughter a year later. However, Saunders left Knight shortly after the birth because she attempted to kill him with a pair of scissors. She then met a man named John Chillingworth. They stayed together for 3 years and even had a child, Eric, Knight's first son. While no violent incidents have been reported about their relationship, it ended after Chillingworth learned that Knight was having an affair with a man named John Charles Thomas Price.
Today's sponsor is called Invoice Cloud. Now, this is really awesome if you're an entrepreneur, small business owner, or even a freelancer. You know how difficult it is to manage and then create those invoices for your customers. But with Invoice Cloud, you have everything you need to create simple, professional estimates on the fly. It's easy to use and understand, and getting rid of all the nonsense so you can have more time to do what matters most, which is to grow your business. Invoice Cloud allows you to add your company details, logo, customer information, as well as products, making it a breeze to send estimates to your clients anytime, anywhere. Now, if you want to start your free 7-day trial and get invoicing in just under 5 minutes, all you need to do is head over to invoicecloud.co.za and boom, you are sorted. That's invoicecloud.co.za.
Now, what is really strange is the beginning of Katherine Knight and John Price's relationship was without complications. He had 2 older children who lived with him, and they actually seemed to like Knight, and he made enough money as a minor to keep her comfortable. They moved in together in 1995, and things were going smoothly. However, when she suggested they marry and he declined, she turned violent. Knight framed Price for stealing things from his company and got him fired. Though he initially kicked her out, a few months later they started seeing each other again. However, this time, he refused to let her move back in, and according to their friends and neighbours, Knight's violence then began to escalate. I honestly don't know how this woman is getting so many men intoxicated with her. Like, if we're just going to call a spade right now, she is by no means attractive. She's in fact rather ugly looking. I don't know if that's been insensitive or not, yeah, but guys, please just try and bear with me and see where I'm coming from. She's not like this drop dead gorgeous woman who I can understand these men's constant infatuation with her, and just putting aside that she's aggressive and violent and slitting bloody dingo puppies' throats. She's not a very pretty woman. So how they're becoming so entranced by her, I don't know. It just absolutely fries my brain. Now we're going to move on to February of the year 2000, and an argument between John Charles Thomas Price and Katherine Knight culminated with her attempting to stab him in the chest. He took out a restraining order against her in an attempt to keep his children safe. And toward the end of the month, Price let on that he was concerned for his safety and told his co-workers that if he ever went missing, it was because Knight killed him. And this poor this poor Price guy, he had every freaking right to be afraid. Sorry guys, I'm not too sure if you can hear all the birds in the background while I'm recording. I don't know if the time I'm recording now is National Happy Hour when it comes to birds, but they seem rather chirpy. So yeah, please just try and ignore it and try and create a suspenseful ambience in the background and not the happiness of these freaking birds chirping. Yeah. Oh gosh, tell me about it, right? Now, on February 29, the year 2000, John Charles Thomas Price came home from work and followed his usual routine of checking in with the neighbors before going to bed at about 11 p.m. Knight came home shortly after, made herself dinner, watched TV, showered, and then went upstairs. She woke Price, the two had sex, and he went back to bed. Then, Katherine Knight, are you kidding me? Katherine Knight took a butcher knife from next to her bed, where she had always kept them, and stabbed Price 37 times. And according to evidence, he woke up during the attack, but he could not fight her off. So we're assuming that one of those initial stab wounds were quite fatal, which allowed him not to fight back. He succumbed to his wounds, and Knight dragged his body downstairs, skinned him, and hung his body from a meat hook in the living room. Then she decapitated him and cut up pieces of his body to cook in a dish with potato, pumpkin, beets, zucchini, cabbage, squash, as well as some gravy. She then made a dish for herself, though the half-discarded contents later found at the crime scene suggest that she couldn't finish her meal. I wonder why. Here we go, taking a real side turn. She went on then to lay down next to the headless, mutilated corpse of Price, took a large number of pills, and passed out. Price's co-workers heeded his warning the next morning and called the police after he didn't show up for his shift, because this was really unusual for him. The police arrived to find Katherine Knight's gruesome crime scene and immediately detained the comatose Knight. And once she woke up, she claimed to have no memory of the night before. Oh, gosh. In the kitchen, police found Price's head boiling in a pot of vegetables on the stove, and on the table they found 2 full plates, each labelled with a name. And in horror, the police realized that Knight had planned to serve John Price's body parts to his children. And despite her claims that she had no recollection of the night John Charles Thomas Price died, Katherine Knight was quickly charged with his murder. And in October of 2001, her trial commenced, but it didn't get very far. For reasons that remain unclear, Knight changed her plea to guilty, and the judge adjourned the case without testimony. She was escorted to prison that day, and the judge ordered that her papers be marked never to be released. And for the first time in history, a woman in Australia was given a life sentence without parole. And to this day, Knight nevertheless maintains her innocence and refuses to accept responsibility for her actions. What a piece of work Katherine Knight is. She even appealed her sentence before and was denied almost immediately, like it wasn't even thought of. Now, she is still serving her life sentence at Silverwater Women's Correctional Centre, and she will live the rest of her life behind bars. Thank goodness for that, because apparently there's a lot of men that are going to fall into this freaking Black Widow's trap. Wow, what a story. I know I really did a quick rundown of this. I wanted to do a deep dive case with Katherine Knight, but there was just a lot of stuff that I felt was out of place for the story, so I wasn't going to do that. What do you guys think of Katherine Knight? In cases like this, do you think the death penalty should be brought back for something like this? Now, I'm not too sure on what Australia's law stance is in with regards to the death penalty, but does this case make you think that the death penalty would be a fit, what's the word I'm looking for, fit judgment for her, for the murder she committed? It's one thing to commit murder, but this seems like it was almost premeditated. The fact that she went on to then mutilate a dead body, that's what's really, really creepy to me. She's got a history of violence, so it's not like it was the first time, but it makes you wonder why Price? What changed? Like, was it just a spur of the moment? Did she finally snap where she decided that she loves butchering so much she's going to take this to the next level and butcher her husband? Like, what did she think was going to happen? Yeah, this case was a nutter of a case. So yeah, guys, you let me know, what did you think of this case? Did you enjoy it? Do you think do you think she deserves parole? Let's see. Maybe there is some family of hers that is listening. by some weird chance and they think she deserves parole? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, thank you so much for listening. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends and family. Let's get the show out there, but just give them the spoiler warning. Not spoiler, but just give them a heads up that it does contain a bit of swearing every now and then. Excuse my French with my bad tongue. But yes, thank you so much. And once again, when you go to bed tonight, don't forget to look under your bed.